Hi, I'm Abhas, and today I'm going to teach you how to start. So, this can apply to anything from starting a project to starting a side hustle to starting a new hobby or anything that you've been waiting to start on but just haven't gotten to yet. Oftentimes, we know kind of what we want to do, where we want to go in life, what our goals are, but starting is really scary. And starting is only really scary because we don't actually know exactly what we want, how we want to get there, or why we want it. So, why don't we all sit down together for a minute and sort of figure this out? Grab a notebook, open a Google Doc, we'll work through this together, and hopefully, we'll figure out a way for you to start. Number one, what is your goal? A lot of people know the answer to this question. However, it's often not phrased in the right way. It's not the right type of goal. So you might have a very large type of goal. Say, I want to run a marathon, but it might not have a time constraint on it. It might not have any sort of steps to it. What you need to do is take your goal, take any sort of far-fetched dream that you might have, and break it into something that's actionable and that's something that you can actually achieve. It's important that your goal is actually something realistic and achievable. Otherwise, you might try to get to the goal, but not actually ever be able to get there and make yourself lose more motivation. Additionally, I'd recommend choosing a goal that doesn't really depend on other people. For example, a goal you might have is to reach 20,000 followers or something on Instagram or on any social media platform. That's not really something that you can control at all. There's a lot of other factors involved, like algorithms, people, your content. The only thing in there that you can control is your content. Instead of saying something like, I want to get first in this competition, maybe say, I will put in X amount of hours towards this project to enter into this competition. Or I will do my absolute best to do my everything I can do to submit something really great for this competition. If you're watching this video, likelihood is you probably have a goal already and you might be actionable already. However, if it isn't, what you need to do is take this high level dream goal and break it down into something more actionable. Say a dream goal is, I want to learn a new language. I want to learn German. If you want to learn German, what do you want to learn about it? Maybe make it something more actionable. I want to complete level 1 German in the next year. You gave it a time frame, you gave it something really actionable, and you know you can probably do it because that's how long it takes people to typically finish one level of German. If your goal is to travel to Europe and you've never been there and you might not have the financial means to do so, maybe your goal needs to be something different, like save up enough money for a trip, for a plane ticket, etc. If your goal is to become an expert in Roman history, maybe you want to focus on reading and really digesting 5 Roman history books in the next year. Number 2, why this goal and why now? This is incredibly important for you to understand why you want to do something. This is your motivation for doing this entire goal. It's important to get clear here. What will you gain if you accomplish this goal, and what will you lose if you don't accomplish this goal? What in your life will completely change if you do achieve this goal? A good exercise for this is to really take a minute and imagine how you would feel if you accomplished and maybe even went beyond the scope of your goal. How would your life be different? The most important thing in your why is that you have to believe that you can achieve this goal. You have to believe that you can write this book. You have to believe that you can do your absolute best in school this semester. You have to believe that you can get that promotion. If you don't believe it in your why, you will self-sabotage. You have to completely believe in yourself. And that's sort of the key here in the why section. 3, you have to make a plan. It's time to take your goal and break it down into even more actionable milestones. So let's say your goal is to run a marathon by the end of next year. If that is your goal, then you need to figure out what is between right now and that goal. If right now you have never gotten up and run at all in your life, that's kind of a bit of a stretch. So you want to break it down into pieces and make sure it's timely to make sure you have enough time to ramp up to your eventual goal. Say, okay, I want to start running for the first time in my life. Maybe set a goal for being able to run a mile nonstop and try to do that, within a month. In that course of a month, you try to run every day, every other day, and hopefully you're able to build it up to 1 mile nonstop. Once you get to 1 mile, you make it 2 miles. Once you get to 2 miles, you make it 3 miles, and you work your way all the way up. The key to breaking down your goals is to making sure you have even spacing in your milestones. So my marathon is at the end of next year. So I have 2 full years to reach 26.2 miles. What that means is ideally I want to reach 13.1 miles by the end of this year. So I can just keep adding 1 mile each time. The other key to this section is setting a deadline. You have to set a deadline for yourself. Put it on your calendar, put it wherever is relevant for you, put it on a post-it, put it on your wall, on your computer. You have to know that there's a deadline for this goal. Otherwise, it's something that will just take lower priority over everything else. We all have work, we all have school, we all have family, partners, love, other priorities that always take precedence over our own goals. So it's really important that you write down exactly by when you want to achieve this goal or when you want to achieve each milestone. This will keep you regularly moving towards your goals. And the last piece of this section is not to get stuck here. I am a grade A planner. I freaking love sitting down with a planner, with a Google Doc, with a calendar, figuring out when I want to do things and planning it all out. Rarely does everything plan out just exactly how I planned it. So don't get stuck here. Oftentimes plans change, your milestones will likely change based on what you do as you go forward. And that's something you will adapt to. So in starting, this whole video is not about planning, it is about starting. So don't get stuck on this step. 4, investment and accountability. If your goal involves learning a new skill, a new hobby, something that you can learn in a class, the best way for you to learn it is to pay money for a class that will teach it to you. This is because you get a really structured learning environment where someone is sitting down and teaching you how to do it. You might have homework, you might have feedback, and you'll immediately be able to grow a lot faster in an environment where you're forced to keep up with the amount of work you've been given. If you're much more self-disciplined than I am, then maybe you are really good at studying on your own and figuring things out, then what you need to do is make sure you set aside that time and accountability for yourself. Whether that is you create some sort of system that makes sure that, on Thursday nights, you're only sitting in and you're working on your watercolor skills and figuring out how to paint better, or you're making time to read certain books that you want to learn more from. And that time can't be changing. It has to be consistent. It has to be on your schedule. Treat it like a class that you're giving to yourself. Make that time really, really unchangeable and not fillable by anything else. By putting it on your calendar and treating it as like a class that belongs to you, you make sure that you're not giving up the time for other people or other commitments. Want to have the social accountability? Tell a friend, tell a parent, tell a spouse, tell the internet, put it on social media, tell people that you're learning something new, that you're doing something, that you're committing to it. Having that kind of social accountability has also shown to really, really get people accountable and making sure they're moving towards their goals. Are you planning on learning something? Is it a skill that you can learn from somebody else? Well, you can teach that skill as well. One of the best ways to pick up a new skill, whether that's a language, a hobby, or any sort of material that you have to ingest, is to teach it. So sign up for something maybe in a year or maybe in 6 months to teach how to do whatever it is you want to learn. In those 6 months, you will suddenly have the kick in the butt you need to learn everything about that subject and everything that is relevant to teaching it, meaning you will suddenly become the expert that you've needed. 5, force a start. Now you know exactly what it is you want to do, how you want to do it, why you want to do it, and what is going to keep you accountable. There's no longer any sort of fog about what and how you are going to do this. So you actually need to do it. The best way I've found to do this is to actually set a timer for maybe 10 minutes, sit down in front of exactly what it is you need to do, and just do it for 10 minutes. That is all. The scariest hump, even when you have all the clarity in the world, is just starting. So what you have to do is really psych yourself out and just do it for like 10 minutes. It doesn't feel like that long. It doesn't feel like a commitment. I'll put it down. I'll put my phone down, put it somewhere else, and just start doing it for 10 minutes. And once I've been doing it for 10 minutes, I start to enjoy it, and I just keep doing it for another 10 minutes, and then that in itself builds the habit. So All you have to do then is sort of keep building on that. And once you encounter the final hump of just needing to start, set an alarm and just say, I'm going to do this for 10 minutes. Just force yourself to do it for 10 minutes. And suddenly it becomes so much easier. I've also found it really helps to get out of my house, do it somewhere different, somewhere that I feel more focused, maybe in a coffee shop, go somewhere with no distractions, maybe put your phone away, put your phone on airplane mode, do not disturb mode, whatever you need, and really focus on the task at hand. Multitasking doesn't always work, and also there's never going to be a right time for you to start something. So why not start right now? Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this video brought you some value, some clarity about where you want to go and how you're going to get there. If you're interested in more like this, feel free to subscribe. My content is going to be focused primarily on personal growth, and I'm super excited to keep creating more. So I'll see you in the next one.